Hi, welcome. If you just got done following Tennis Strategy 101, then then you're ready. You're ready for the next step. You've stopped shooting yourself in the foot, and now you're ready to start building some more building blocks in your game. And so today I'm going to deliver a little bit of news, and then I'm going to go into the introduction for Tennis 201, and I'll try to keep the news very brief. So, number one, I'm going to be on the At the Net podcast on Sunday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with AJ Chabria and Craig Bell. So it's my honor to be on that. And you can find that on, I think they're going to do it live on Instagram and other stuff. So look up those guys, and it's not hard to find them. So that's going to be Sunday night. It's going to be a full 2 hour conversation. So if you want to get to know me better, oh my goodness, you got to get on there because it's going to be funny because those guys are very funny. Anyway, so that's number one. Number two is that I anticipate the publication as an ebook of Tennis Strategy 101 this weekend. So that will be an official ebook. And I'm going to experiment with trying to do a pre-order on that so that people can get it pre-ordered, and then that'll help it get to number one, blah, blah, blah. So, all right, let's dig into Tennis Strategy 201. So you're not shooting yourself in the foot because it's hard to play a good strategy if you're hitting too many balls in the net, or you lack the ability to hit targets on the court, or you're not getting your first serve in, or you don't make your returns. I mean, come on, you can't really play a strategy if you're not doing those things. So that's why 101, laid a foundation on which you can build. Because I see a lot of people trying to execute a strategy, and so it's like they've got this battleship and it's trying to get over there, and they've got the guns and all that, but it's sinking. So patch those leaks up first, because you have to travel over to where you're going to go shoot something, right? So okay, so now you've reduced the amount of errors that you make needlessly in your match. Now, here's my challenge to you. If you can come up with a sixth category of strategy, tell me what it is. And then I will try to see if it falls under one of these five categories. So you do your best, right? So I believe that there are five basic iconic strategies of tennis. And part of this was inspired by David Smith, and it was also partly inspired by Ken DeHart. So I know Ken, took some stuff that he learned from David, and he kind of made it his own. And then I took it from both of them, and now I've made it my own. So the origin of this is that Ken DeHart, for many years, has said all your strategies on one hand, right? Keep the ball in play, right? Hit with depth, hit with spin, hit to a direction, not in this order, and hit with power, right? And power comes last. So I actually started to think, all right, there are five different sorts of categories of things that can help you win a tennis match. Now, what we commonly see are many American tennis players play one of two styles. And the most common style that you see is the counter punching baseliner, the so-called grinder. So, they're not thinking about a lot of offense. They're playing extremely defensively. They're going for a super high percentage of first serves made. They might even kick in a lot of their first serves. And then they run around and hit topspin all day until the cows come home. And they're gym rats. They live on the treadmill, and they just can't wait to make the other player exhausted and give up. Right. So that's a lot of people play like that. And they're not too, they don't have a whole lot of cognizance about where exactly they're hitting. Some do, some don't. Some might be thinking, okay, I need to get cross court. All right, so that's a that's a very large percentage of players right there. And then the other people are the impatient ones, the hair triggers, the loose cannons, and so they're they're hitting big serves on the first serve. They might have a good first serve percentage. They might be serving over 50% on with hitting big serves all the time. Okay, good for you. But I see quite a few people out there who go for big serves all the time on first serve, and they're serving about 20, 25, 30% first serve in, and then they go with their pat a cake second serve or whatever. Um, or they're hitting a lot of double faults because they're very aggressive on both serves. And so their whole thing is big serve, big forehand, point over, boom, boom, tennis, right? So a lot of people call that first strike. Um, and nothing wrong with that as long as you're winning. If you win, then that solves everything, right? So I'm not meaning to criticize these things necessarily because, um, I believe that the power game, if you can win at it, is actually the best way to win because you expend less energy. You get it over with quickly. You can bagel somebody and boom, 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 get those points over and go get in the locker room, and you've used a lot less energy, especially if you have a second match on the day. It's big. It's huge. It's a really important thing to do is to conserve energy. Or if you're going to have, I mean, these 1,000-point tournaments on the Pro Tour are just nuts because, you're going to, on most of them, it's played in 1 week, and there are going to be 6 really tough matches, right, in 7 days time. So not a lot of recovery there. Grand Slams might be, those, and then here's the other thing about those 1,000-point tournaments, it's like the top 96, the top 64 at a lot of them, right? That doesn't give you too many early round matches. A lot of those people could be finalists at a 250 event. So anyway, I digress. But now the other way that people play is that they run around and just hit one more shot. And what that does, that's exhausting. That's exhausting, and it's non-offensive, and you put yourself at risk of losing to a player who's playing smarter than you. Also true of the power player. The power player might be up against somebody who mutes their power, takes away their offense, and then they get desperate to win points. So, power players can be error prone. So now the three styles that I'm going to talk about next, you see them played by a lot more European players and South American players. You see this more often. So Eastern, so anyway, and they are as follows. Number 1, pressure, time, and space. So Federer, I think, has really gone fully to this strategy because he's not as fast as he used to be, and he's not also able to hit winners from anywhere on the court anymore. So he's pressuring time and space. He's coming closer to take his returns, to take time away. He's coming to the net more. He's using his serve more surgically to pressure people from the very first shot, and so those things take away time and space. When you come closer, you're taking away time. When you come to the net, you're taking away time. When you bring someone up to the net and then maybe you pass them or you lob them, you're messing with their time. You're pressuring their time and space. So there's lots of different ways that can be done. And I'm not going to digress too much into the tactics. All right, now let's go back up to 30,000 feet. So there's strategies, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strategies and the big thing, right? And then if we drill down into a strategy, right in there, okay, then you have the tactics that support a certain strategy. So if your tactics don't support your strategy, you're not really playing the strategy. All right, now The third style, because I go power, number one, pressure, time, and space, number two, pressure movement, number three, right? So that's where when you're pressuring movement, then you're going to serve out wide and get the player off the other court. And then you're going to hit a deep cross court shot the other way. And then you've created this nice, long, diagonal movement for your opponent. And they're going to have to move more that way. So, but here's the tricky thing. I mean, in order to play the movement game, you either have to be better than your opponent at moving or at making angles. So if you are significantly better in one of those two things, then that's a good strategy for you. But if you're not significant, if you're slightly better than your opponent in both things, it's still good. But if your opponent is significantly better at moving or making angles than you, then it is not a good idea, because when you pressure movement, you're creating more angles in the game and giving people angles that they can use. So, by the way, if you have any questions or comments, you can put those in the comment section or in the, or on the post that where I'm talking right now, and I will go back and look at those later. Not all of them pop up on this current platform that I'm on. Anyway, and the fourth one is to disrupt. So anyway, back to the movement one. So essentially what you're trying to do is get your opponent moving and keep them moving and use your relative advantage in that regard. So you don't have to overpower them. And the power player might not be the speediest player out there. And, the player who's just running around and hitting one more shot, they might not be trying really hard to make you run. But if you can keep them running all over the place, they're not really going to hurt you because they don't have enough offense in their game to make that happen, nor are they thinking offensively enough. So this would be a great game for somebody to play if they want to make the transition from being a counter-punching baseliner who just runs around and grinds to, being a pressure movement player. That's a really good transition. Pretty easy to change that with just a couple little nuanced plays. All right. And then there's the disrupt the rhythm players. So the Fabrice Santoro, Nick Kyrgios, Peng Shuai. Where is Peng Shuai? Is she playing? I haven't seen her lately. But so the players who are tough to beat because they take you out of your rhythm. They're unpredictable, and Nadal hates these players with a passion. He really struggles against players who change up the pace of the rally all the time. And so they're coming with something different. They're changing their spins. They're changing the speeds. They're going higher, lower. They'll drop shot lob. They'll hit a short angle here and a deep shot over there, and they'll go deep down the middle. You just really don't know what they're going to do. So they're just mixing it up all the time and taking people out of their comfort zone. And, that can be really tough on, everybody. It can be really tough for every other style to play this person who's dictating the play by sort of junking it up, so to speak. So one of my favorite upset matches that one of my players has played was a kid named Shreyas, and he was in the top 70 sectionally, and he was playing a kid who was like number 12, and this was in a high school semifinal at the big championships. So nobody gave my kid a chance. He's like, oh man, Shreyas is pretty good, but he can't beat this kid Daniel, right? So anyway, so the match went on. And so we had this game plan at, that he should junk him up because this kid had really nice ground strokes on both sides. Shreyas liked to come to the net a lot, but this kid was passing a little too well. So he just played this really junky style, no two shots the same. And so we called it everything but the kitchen sink. Just, hit the ball higher, hit the ball lower, hit it faster, hit it slower, hit it with topspin, hit it with slice, hit it with more topspin, hit a flat ball, hit it over here, hit it over there, hit it at him, hit it away from him. So all, then the other kid was visibly frustrated, and Shreyas ended up coming away with a third set victory. And at the end, it was sad. The other kid just lost. He just looked like he had no answer for it. He tried to kind of play the same way as Shreyas, but he just wasn't cut out for that. He never really developed all those skills. So, back to number 5. This retrieving, counterpunching, grinding thing, that's a great thing to do as maybe your B game or your C game. And, I know that on the court, sometimes I come in and I'm serving and volleying, and the other person's passing shots are just too good. And I'm like, okay, this is not working. It's not a good matchup today. They return my serve well. They hit passing shots well, and I'm not winning. So, I might go to trying to junk them up, and take them out of their rhythm. That's my B game, right? But if it's as a last resort, then I'll just go back to running around and trying to make one more shot, with the caveat that I will try really hard to keep the ball deep cross court, because that's the secret sauce of that particular strategy. If you are running around hitting one more ball, but you're laying up balls up in the center of the court, or short to the forehand, or hitting to the backhand a little too early in the point so the other player can change the direction of the ball, then it's going to be tough sledding. You're going to have a really tough day on the court that way. So the reason that I'm sharing all this stuff is because now that you've stopped the bleeding, you've stopped the leaky ship that's about to sink because you hit too many balls in the net, and you can't hit a target to save your life. You've solved those problems now, and now you're ready to start expressing yourself. So that stuff in tennis 101 is kind of like learning how to play scales as a musician, or learning how to do straight lines and perfect circles as an artist. You need those things because you're going to need to be able to draw some straight lines. So I'm glad I have tools that help me draw a straight line. But now you can start thinking about it. What appeals to you most? What's your skill set? Are you more powerful than other people? Use it. Use your power. If you can do that, any day you can overpower the opponent. Do that, right? Not a lot of people I can overpower. Almost everybody's more powerful than me in a pure sense, and if I try to play too powerfully, I start to make too many mistakes. So, but pressure, time, and space, that doesn't require as much aggression. You can have more control if you're pressuring time and space. You don't have to go for as many big shots. And then maybe that appeals to you because your timing is so good. You can move forward. You can take balls on the rise. People who are a little physically larger and maybe not as mobile are able to do that because they can win the collision with the ball better. Pressuring movement, is great. And we've already talked about it. If you have the tools for it, if you don't have if you're the big person and you're playing the small person who's really quick around the court, don't play that way. You're just running into a chainsaw. So play a style. So maybe if you're quick and you make good angles, keep them moving, perfect. And then finally, if you have a very wide variety skilled set with your racket work, that you can control the ball while spinning it lots of different ways, throwing in the lob, driving a ball a little bit, not as a super power shot, but just to change of pace, and all these different little things. You're like the magician with the racket. Then that might be your primary style, and you can be one of the most hated people on the tennis court that way. And then finally, right, last resort, play this other style. And I don't actually recommend that to anybody as your A game, because it's just going to be really difficult. And you'll see that people who play what I call the high effort game, where their game is predicated on their movement, then as soon as they lose a step, then it's pretty much over. because once you start losing a step playing that way, then you've given up a huge advantage. You're really going to have to be one of the faster people out there to run down one more ball and not give up an advantage tactically. So that's it for today. Use your social digital currency, right? So it just takes one finger to go like, share, subscribe, like, share, subscribe, write a little comment, ask a question, tell me what you think. What do you think? I want to know what you think. All right. And then thank you to Chuck Tomlin, who has submitted a guest chapter for Tennis 101. So I've begun the process of kind of going through that. So thank you, Chuck, for that. Chuck is out of Georgia. He's not far from Atlanta, Georgia. So if you want to go see Chuck, he's got the advanced tennis, advanced foundation thing, similar to David Smith's advanced tennis foundation. So I think I'm getting the words wrong. But anyway, thank you for watching. Like, click, subscribe. And then, if you want to buy me a coffee, my Venmo is at Brain Sports Coach. So you can Venmo me if you want to buy me a coffee or a beer. Then I'm really happy to do that. And as always, tip your wait staff and tip the barista, and maybe go buy somebody a gallon of gas. It's a rough time right out there for a lot of people. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.